right-wing, fundamentalist, evangelicals were responsible for the planting the seeds for the abolition of slavery. Within Western civilization, the principal impetus for the abolition of slavery came first from the conservative religious activists, people who would today be called the religious right. What was historically unusual was the emergence in the late 18th century of a strong moral sense that slavery was so wrong that Christians could not in good conscience enslave anyone, or countenance the continuation. Did y'all get that? It was because Christians rose up and said this idea of slavery is wrong. This was a new idea, y'all. This was something different. It only came up because of the Christian idea of man being made in the image of God. And if it wasn't for the idea, slavery would exist today just like it existed then. So now, how did this happen? How did this idea of man being made in the image of God, how this idea of this nation wanting to abolish slavery, how did that propagate around the world? Because now you have the British society, you have the British government saying, we're no longer going to deal with slavery. We're going to ban slavery. But they went further than that. They are saying now, we're going to help stamp out slavery worldwide. And guess what they used to do it? They used their military might and their economic power. Anti-slavery ideology spread throughout Europe. The advancement of European imperialism around the world is responsible for the retreat of slavery worldwide. You put pressure on people. You say, look, if you want to trade with us, you got to abolish slavery. They were to the point where they were saying, if we suspect your ships carrying slaves, we're going to sink your ships. We're going to confiscate your ships. That's how they propagated, used colonialism, their imperial colonialism, to propagate the idea that slavery is wrong and force other nations to not do it.
That's exactly the opposite message we hear.
I know. That's why I stress it. That's why I stress it. That's why I stress it. That's exactly why I stress it. The British Navy entered Brazilian waters in 1849 and destroyed Brazilian ships that had been used in the slave trade. This is sending a message worldwide. The British government pressured the Ottoman Empire into banning the African slave trade and later threatened to start boarding Ottoman ships in the Mediterranean if the empire did not do a better job of policing the man. When the British government approached the Ottoman Empire, the Muslim government, and said, y'all need to stop doing slavery, they laughed. They laughed. They said, you crazy? And they actually said something like, yeah, we agree technologically you're superior, but morally you have nothing to talk about. And because they felt like the Prophet Muhammad sanctioned it. So who are you to tell us this? They were the most resilient to the slave trade. Americans stamped out slavery in the Philippines, the Dutch stamped it out in Indonesia, the Russians in Central Asia, the French in West Africa and Caribbean colonies, Germans in their East African colonies, often hanged slave traders on the spot if they caught them in the act. This is how you use your power to suffocate or to stamp out slavery. And this is what happened, and you're never going to hear about it on the news. The result of the abolition of slavery: Christianity set the captives free. Now we all know Christianity set the captives free spiritually, but he also set them free physically. While slavery was common to all civilizations, this is one of my favorite quotes, as well as to peoples considered uncivilized, only one civilization developed a moral revulsion against them. Very late in its history, Western civilization. Only Western civilization, driven by Christianity, found slavery to be morally unacceptable. Yes?
Just like what you mentioned, it is very disturbing to hear how come my discussion with Hindus or Muslims, they always blame Christians, you're proselytizing or you're kind of sending your agenda by feeding their food or helping them out. Right. Why can't you just food and leave, and why do you have to propagate Christianity to them?
Hinduism was big in slavery. Buddhism was big in slavery. All world religions practiced slavery. But the difference is that Christianity was incompatible with it. Now, I'm not saying Christians didn't do it. I'm saying Christianity. I'm not saying Christians. There's a difference. There's a big difference. Because what a Christian does isn't necessarily Christian. Christianity is what Jesus teaches. It's what the Bible teaches. It's what the New Testament teaches. That's what I'm talking about when I say incompatible with Christianity. I'm not saying it's incompatible with Christians.
Couldn't like a Buddhist or Muslim like say the same thing about their rules now? Like, oh, if a Muslim does it or a Buddhist does it, and like that's incompatible with like Buddhism and Islam or Islam. Like, how would you like respond to that?
I would say that, now I try to go into each and every one of them, but I'm going to use Buddhism as an example. In Buddhism, it can be incompatible with it. First of all, man's not made in the image of God, but secondly, you're dealing your karma. You're working out your karma. So if your karma designates that you're a slave in this life, then you're supposed to be a slave in this life. As a matter of fact, if anybody tried to free you, they would be interfering with your karma, and their karma would be disrupted. So it is definitely compatible with slavery. It is, and the whole caste system is definitely compatible with slavery. So Christianity simply kept us free spiritually. Everyone who does not know Christ is in bondage to sin. Jesus answered them, truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. Only Christianity frees us from the bondage of sin. So if the Son of Man makes you free, you will be free indeed. I told y'all my story. I told y'all about how God said to me, thy will be done when I wanted to just hang out with, or I didn't say hang out with, sleep with women, prostitutes, and I became an alcoholic. I was involved. Finally, it didn't dawn on me until after I became a believer, but it dawned on me that I wanted to be free to do those things. I wanted to be free to sleep with women. I wanted to be free to drink alcohol. And one day it dawned on me I was in bondage to those things. Because that's what I woke up thinking in the morning. Every morning when I woke up, I'm thinking about, who I'm going to come over to the house tonight, or what I was going to drink tonight. That's all I thought about. I was not free to do those things. I was in bondage to those things. And it was when Jesus came into my life, and with the alcohol, one day, I'll tell y'all, after I became a believer, I was still drunk. Because I thought I could quit drinking. And I remember getting on my knees in my living room floor, and my wife left everything. I'm right.